Shalom, family trendsetter. Before I continue, I want to give all praises to the Most High Power, Hashem. Basically, he or she or it have allowed us to live to this day. For many of us to witness or going to witness the downfall of the United States of America. Now I know a lot of you white people, when you hear this, you like, why this nigga talking shit about America? He live in America. Yes, you're right. And of course, many of us are going to get caught up should they decide to attack, which they will. Because one thing with these devils, right? These other devils, because the Arab people, a lot of those, I don't fuck with them either. I don't like them either because they had slaves too. They had niggas as slaves too. So I believe the Most High is stirring up the war that is supposed to happen within the last days. Because in the Bible there's prophetic, prophecy that that in the last days there's going to be wars and rumors of war. Well, in this case, there ain't no rumors of war. It is going to be war. Well, actually, it's rumors that it's going to be war, but it's going to happen. But before that time comes, the children of Israel will be delivered. Now, a lot of y'all believe that 2019 was the year, the 400-year prophecy was talking about. Nah, I don't think so, because these devils have changed the calendar. They're not going to give us the exact dates. You know, it's prophecy. It's prophesied, that we're going to be free after 400 years. But they're not going to give us the date. They're going to fuck with the calendar. They manipulate the calendar, the Gregorian calendar, for decades. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing this shit. They give you daylight saving time. They give you leap year. They do all this stuff because they're trying to hide when that day is coming. But they know. And I think, spiritually, we will know when that time comes too. So a lot of people might be thinking, why are you rejoicing? You're going to be caught up. And you know what? You're right. I'm going to be caught up in this shit. But guess what? Let me put it this way. Let's say I was living in a neighborhood that's known for drug dealing, right? Gang banging. And the building that I live in have a lot of drug dealers in there. And let's say for some reason or another, somebody targeted my house, my apartment. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I go to work. But the stick-up kid coming to my apartment, knocking on my door, thinking that I have drugs, because the people that lived there prior to me having that apartment was drug dealers. So they think that I'm that individual. So they come to my apartment, they stick us up, they bound me and my family, and they threaten to kill us if we don't surrender the drugs. And let's say when a word get out that there's hostages or there's drug dealers or stick-up kid, trying to rob us or whatever, and let's say the hostage rescuers come, which is the SWAT team or the police department come, right? And they see the building. The first thing they're going to say, wait a minute, ain't this the building that they always have drug activity, blah, 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 blah. But their job is to come and defuse the situation, to take out the bad guys. So they hear that, there's 3 armed men in this one apartment and they got hostages and blah, 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 blah. So the first thing they're going to think to themselves, well, it might be drug related. And remember, we're innocent bystanders. We innocent in this game, nothing really. We're not a part of anything. Like I said, hardworking people. But because the stereotype, the assumption is that, maybe it's drug related. So when they go now to raid or to rescue, right, quote unquote, rescue the hostages, which would be us, you think they're going to think about, okay, should we try to spare the hostage's life? Or are they going to look at it like they might be a part of the drug dealing activities and shit? That's probably why they're getting right. Do you think they're going to come in there and use kid gloves then to try to spare our lives, right? We as hostages? Or are they going to come in there to take out the bad guys, including us? Because in their eyes, we're the bad guys too, because they can't differentiate at that moment that we're not a part of the drug game, right? So they're going to come in there with gun blazing and they're going to take out everybody just to get their target. It's the same thing here in the United States of America. Yes, there are going to be casualties. There are going to be good people that's going to have to suffer, because not all white people are bad. Not all white people are bad, believe it or not. You got some decent ones. But in this case, the good are going to have to suffer for the bad. Because see, family, when they was lynching, burning us, hanging us, castrating our men, a lot of us was good people. We wasn't wicked people. You know what I'm saying? We was the good ones, but they still took us out. The good had to suffer for the bad. So in this case, yes, I guess a lot of us are going to get caught up in this shit. This is why I say y'all need to start finding who the Most High really is. Fuck God. God is Satan. You know what I'm saying? God is a title. You can't say you're worshiping God because you got Buddhists worship a fucking elephant that look like a god. You got Allah, what they call it, the Islamic people, they call out to Allah Akbar and shit before they blow themselves up. You got different gods, so you can't say y'all worship God, because God is just a fucking ideology. You know what I'm saying? Ideology, really. God is a title. Okay. The Most High has a name. I don't think he's going to reveal his true name to us because, you know, we don't deserve his name. I think when the time comes, he will reveal his name so we can call upon the true name. A lot of us call him Yah, Ahaya, Yahweh, whatever. But, you know, I rock with Yah. I call him Yah a lot of times. Sometimes I might call him Ahaya, but it still has Yah in it. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm used to calling him by. But I think that when the time really comes, he's going to give us his name. And when we call upon his name, family, the ones that selected, the chosen, the real people, the real elects, I should say, the saints, then you're going to see him send forth his angels to come and redeem us. So again, yes, a lot of y'all might be like, why you keep talking like as if you're rejoicing of what threat the Iraqis sent? I am rejoicing because for far too long, America has been the bully of this world. You know what I'm saying? They go around and they terrorize every country. They are the biggest terrorists. America is the biggest terrorist. They created ISIS. They created Al-Qaeda. ISIS is the boogeyman for America. Every time when America want to do any kind of deviltry, you know, topple any government, they drop bombs, or they use, you know, the ISIS fighters and shit to do their bidding for them, and then they try to blame it on them because ISIS is being funded by America. A lot of y'all don't know. I think ISIS actually mean, the ISIS means Israeli Special Intelligence Service. That's what the fuck ISIS really means. Because I remember like 2 years or 3 years ago, they had captured some ISIS fighters, and they said that the ISIS fighters did not sound like Arabs. They sound more like Jews. They were trying to speak Arab, but you heard the Yiddish in it. So that's what ISIS means. The Israeli Special Intelligence Service. That's who the fuck they are. Okay, they created the American government and the Israeli government. They created ISIS to topple the Arab countries. That's why you see ISIS target. Why would ISIS people who believe in Allah, right? Why would they fuck with Islamic people? Does that make sense to y'all? Their main target is not Jewish people. They're going into Syria, they're going into Iraq, Iran, they're going to all these Middle Eastern countries and killing people. So that should tell you who's behind it. See, y'all got to sometimes read between the lines, family. It's deep. So I believe, again, that the Most High is sanctioning this World War III that's going to come, and I think that we should start preparing. They was talking about there was going to be a civil war. They have white militias stockpiling weapons, talking about in the event Trump is not elected, it's going to be a civil war. And you know primarily who's going to be the target, right? It's going to be us folks, because they know we ain't going to vote for no motherfucking ugly ass Donald Trump, troll ass looking Donald Trump. They know we're not going to do that. So they pretty much going to come after us first. And of course, if any white people get involved or whatever, they're going to go after them too. But let me just say this. There ain't going to be no civil war. Because at the end of the day, right, they're going to have to put their differences aside. The Democrat, Republican, they're going to all unite, just like how you got now. You got Iran and Iraq and shit united. They had a civil war for how many centuries and shit. Now they put their differences aside, and now they're teaming up together. So much so, Trump said if Iraq decides to kick out the Americans out of Iraq, they're going to sanction Iraq. You know what I'm saying? They're going to put sanction on Iraq. But the Iraqis don't give a fuck right now. They listen, they're going to come together, family, and rightfully so, because it's a brotherhood. You know what I mean? Nobody likes Americans. You white supremacists that walk around, call yourself white supremacists, there's nothing really supreme about y'all and shit. Nobody likes y'all. Y'all got a target on y'all back. Y'all white privileged, so-called white privileged skin, y'all are targeted. Y'all are targeted individual right now. You know what I mean? Y'all just don't understand. And a lot of you black niggas are going to be targeted too. Because, speaking about targeting, right? I went to New York yesterday. Well, over the weekend. And yesterday I decided I'm going to ride the train from Coney Island, Brooklyn, all the way to White Plains, Bronx, right? White Plains Road in the Bronx. I just wanted an adventure. My daughter was like, you shouldn't do it because the subway is not like when you used to live out here back in the 2000s. It's dangerous. So I told her not to worry, I got my thing on me. So I decided I'm going to ride the train as an adventure because I like to experience New York and its rawness. And I remember when I got on the train at Coney Island. That's the last stop in Brooklyn, Coney Island, right? And I remember getting on the train, and these young, youngsters, black kids, they got on the train. They're probably in their early 20s, probably teenagers, whatever. They got on the train, and the train didn't move yet, so they got on the train smoking cigarette, right? And you're not supposed to be smoking on the train. They know that shit, but they wanted to prove themselves to be gangsters. So I was saying to myself, I bet you these little dumbass niggas gonna get arrested. You know what I'm saying? I said it because I mean, it was just obvious. Because they smoking on the train, smoking weed on the train, and cigarette on the train. And I'm saying, what's wrong with these dumbass idiots, right? And Coney Island is known to have, crime. There's a lot of robberies and shit like that, especially on the subway. So you're gonna have undercover cops. So I'm saying to myself, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not an undercover cop on this train, because there was passengers on the train and people was looking at him like they was crazy. And family, as soon as I said it, this Spanish guy jumped up. He had on a hoodie. He was reading the newspaper. He jumped up and he pulled out his badge and said, "Police officer, get against the wall." And as soon as he did that, you had two other it was a white boy and a black guy jumped up too and pull out they thing. Next thing you know, they on the radio. You see all these cops coming from all these other different other different carts. It was like maybe about 15 police officers on that train, right, detaining these two dumbass niggas. And the way how they threw him against the train, the seat, the guy was like, "Ow!" He was like, "Ah, man!" And he's screaming out in pain and shit because he threw him against the seat. And they took him off the train, threw them against the wall, threw one of them on the floor, the biggest one on the floor, got his knee in his back. And I'm like, good for their ass. I said that shit. I said, good for their ass. Because first of all, they shouldn't be doing that shit. We always attract negative attention. You think these fucking police officers like us, especially the white ones, they don't like, even the black ones, they don't like to see gangster. They don't like to see thug niggas. Because y'all make their job hard for them. You actually, if you're a black officer and you got to keep making black arrests, you know what I'm saying? You make them look bad as a black officers and shit. You know what I'm saying? They don't like y'all. They don't like when y'all be thugging it. There's no need for all that extra shit. And yeah, they arrested. And I was saying to myself, I knew this shit was, anybody could have predicted that shit. Because they smoking the weed and the cigarette, the shit is stinking. You're not allowed to be smoking on it. You're not supposed to be smoking on a train. You're not supposed to be smoking in any public place. Now they saying you can't even smoke on certain streets. That you have a lot of patrons and shit. So now I'm telling you, family, you don't understand. We got a target on our backs too. And it's the same way you damn devils got a target on your back. So the good gonna have to suffer for the bad in this case. You know what I mean? The good gonna have to suffer for the bad. If you're a decent so-called white folks and you ain't really trying to oppress the black people, but guess what? You were a part of the oppression class. So now y'all gonna have to suffer for what your ancestors or what your dumbass commanding thief decided to do. And speaking of commanding thief, I could guarantee you this devil is shitting in his pants. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not wearing pull-ups right now and shit, adult pull-ups, because as much as he want to act like he's tough, he didn't sign up for this shit. He didn't want to be. Donald Trump just wanted to be president to pretty much secure his freedom because he knew that they was coming after him and shit, and he had to run for presidency to secure his freedom because this dude was doing a lot of under the tables criminality. So Russia got involved. Russia said, "Okay, I tell you what, I will allow you to become president. Right? I will get involved in the political arena and shit. I will fuck with the votes. That way you become president. But this is what I want you to do in return. I need for you to alienate the other allies. That's with America. I need for you to pull out troops out of Syria to allow me to have free reign. I need you to pull out troops out of Turkey so Turkey could do what they need to do." And ISIS, incidentally, was created by the Americans. All right, I think I mentioned that already. ISIS was created by the Americans, and the reason why they killed that general is because that general was responsible for a lot of ISIS death. As I said before in the video, they needed ISIS to go into these Arab countries and bring forth havoc, reap havoc in these countries in order to destabilize us. That way they can bring the American troops in to take over, to have like occupation in their country. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? All these wars is proxy. It's orchestrated. All right. But yes, I am saying all praise be to the Most High. I hope and pray that the Most High do send forth the Mead, right, with their arrows, to aim their arrows, which is these missiles and shit and nuclear weapons to the north. And if we got to get caught up in it, it is what it is, because death is not final, family. You know what I'm saying? As I told y'all in many videos, our body is the vehicle that transports the soul and the spirit for those of us who have both. And after death, you basically release the spirit. It's not final. This is one of the reasons why you see these Islamic extremists, when they blow themselves up, they always say Allah Akbar, whoever their God is, Allah is and shit, because I think Allah is Satan. You know what I'm saying? That's another deity, another name that he goes by, Allah. You know what I'm saying? And they blow themselves up and shit. But in this case, when they say Allah Akbar, they're actually giving their soul to Satan. You know, they don't realize the shit. So I ain't blowing myself, or I ain't killing myself and talk about Allah Akbar, none of that shit. I'm not killing myself, period. I didn't give myself life, so I'm not gonna take my own life, and neither should you. But family, I just want to come on here and rap with y'all a little bit. I'm in downtown Baltimore right now, over by Orleans Street, North Broadway, by the Johns Hopkins and University of Maryland. And usually sometimes they be having police out here and shit, so I don't want to get caught on my phone. But with that, I say peace and blessing. Shalom.